Ladies and gentlemen, boys, and the two girls that listen to the podcast. Welcome to Spear. Welcome to Spearhead Sundays. I know there's more than two girls. I just enjoy that joke. Every time I'm like, oh, there must be no girls listening to this, I get like 50 fucking emails from girls. I listen to the podcast. Well, I don't know. I'm sorry, girls. Well, yeah, welcome to the guys as well. You guys are expendable, the men. Got heaps here. Fuck you all. This one's for the ladies, this episode. So, last week I pissed a whole bunch of people off. I pissed off all the fucking stoners that listen to this. Sorry, guys. Sorry for fucking making fun of your little thing. What is it with people who do drugs? You can't make fun of them. You can't. You can't be like, hey, I think doing a fuckload of acid every single week is probably not a good thing for your brain. And then you make a couple jokes about it, and then all of a sudden they all fucking lose their mind, bro. Bro, you don't know anything about psychedelics, man. You can't talk about psychedelics if you haven't experienced it, man. I'll tell you something about psychedelics, man. It fucking opened up your third eye. My calcified node, it's decalcified because I took a fuckload of acid in the bush, man. And my third eye's just so open now, and I can see all the bullshit, and I'm just so, I'm so content with my life, and I'm just gonna fucking talk about, conspiracy theories and fucking acid and finding myself and realizing shit until I die alone at 40 because I don't have a good job, so I fucking can't afford to go to the hospital when I need it. Like, I don't know. I don't fucking hate you guys if you do drugs. I don't hate you guys. I don't hate drugs. I just think, I think chemical shit is a bad idea. I think putting anything man-made, like, and when I say man-made, I don't mean like, Panadol's man-made, but that shit's made by fucking super scientists in a lab. Acid is made by a hairy bikie who just like trafficked a whole bunch of little Japanese kids and raped them all. And he's like, I might as well make some acid while I'm here. Let me get the bleach and pour it in like, I don't think acid is a good idea. And I expressed this in a humorous way, and I copped a whole bunch of shit from all of these people who like psychedelics and stuff. My view on psychedelics and things and chemical drugs is I understand that they can be an asset to your creative side, but as somebody who works in a creative industry, stand-up comedy, and who is also around lots and lots of musicians, it never is a long-term thing. All of those chemicals and psychedelics, cocaine, I know that's not a psychedelic, but like all of those hard drugs, even weed, really, like weed's probably a really big thing. It kills your motivation and it makes people paranoid, and it never helps. I've never seen, this is why I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. I probably never will. I never drank either for this same reason, okay? It's not because I think drugs are evil. It's just because I have never, ever seen drugs or alcohol benefit someone's career in the long term. In any industry, ever. I've never met anybody. I've never spoke to somebody who knows somebody. I've seen there are a few rare people. Like I do realize there are rare people out there up the top. Like I don't know. There's probably fucking a million people you can list off the top of your head. Joe Rogan, for example, is a very, very successful comedian who talks a lot about psychedelics and how they can be good for you. But he also says that if you are the type of person psychedelics can fuck up, stay away from them. And I think that with drugs and things like that, I've never seen anybody that I know or people that I know. Fuck, what am I saying? I've never seen drugs or alcohol benefit somebody in the long run. I've seen somebody have a couple of beers before they go on stage and they're a little bit more loose, and then they're a little bit better. But then I see them go, oh shit, maybe this means when I drink before I go on stage, I'm better. So I should do this every time I get on stage. And then they start drinking, and they start drinking a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, they're fucking pissed on stage and their career's in the toilet because they've become alcoholics. Like, I've seen it happen. I've never seen drugs or alcohol benefit somebody in the long run, but I have seen it fucking destroy people. Even marijuana. I've seen marijuana make people fucking paranoid. They can't leave the house. All that kind of shit. And I'm all for, smoking it recreationally, but when you're just having bongs and just when you wake up, that's when it's fucked. So yeah, I don't think marijuana is an evil thing. I don't think we should ban. I don't think it should be illegal. I think we should legalize it so that we can, fucking distribute it properly and stop all these people going for jail over nothing. But I think we all need to just acknowledge that it does fuck some people up. Do you know what I mean? And all these, there are a lot of people out there who are like, oh, fucking drugs. Look at this super famous person. He does drugs. Look at this super famous person. Look at Snoop Dogg. He smokes weed every day. Okay, cool. So Snoop Dogg smokes weed every day and he's really successful. But you smoke weed every day and you can't leave the fucking house without ripping a cone. For every celebrity, like, or not even celebrity, for every really, really successful person out there who does drugs habitually and they do a lot of drugs, there are hundreds of thousands who do the same amount of drug and it fucks their life. I think all those really successful people who can handle drugs and it helps and they can still be successful with that. Those people aren't normal people. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not a good indicator of the effects of drugs across the rest of the population, because if drugs really did help you become Snoop Dogg, there'd be a lot of fucking Snoop Dogs out there, and there'd be a lot less people on Centrelink. So yeah, I did piss off a lot of people, but you know what? Fuck them. I stand by it. I don't think. My main point that I keep coming back to is I don't think that people who do drugs are evil people. I don't think that you're a fucking stupid person if you do drugs occasionally. But I think that drugs and even weed, I think weed and psychedelics and shit, I've seen that stuff make incredibly talented people who really have a shot. I've seen any kind of drug, you name it, I've seen it fucking ruin their prospects. So for me personally, if you want to go do drugs, do whatever you like, that's cool. But for me personally, I don't think that is going to benefit me in the long term. So why the fuck would I do it? I'm only interested in doing things that will benefit my career in the long term, that will make me a fucking great comedian. And I don't think sitting at home tripping balls on acid for 4 hours is going to help me write my act, write my next hour, plan my next tour. So I'm just going to stay away from that. Because that's another thing, like I get drinking, going out and drinking to have fun, but that shit's poison, man. It's fucking, we all know it's poison. They've done studies, scientists admitted if we discovered fucking alcohol now, it'd be on the poisons list, because it's a poison. But people do it to escape their reality, because they're not happy with it. And I remember when I was working in a call center, I could totally see myself falling into that behavior of, oh, I fucking hate my life. I don't see any other way out, but on Friday, at least I get to get fucking smashed and have a good night. Like, I totally see that, but I think alcoholism and drug addiction is more a symptom, is more a symptom of the world that we've built around us. Do you know what I mean? Like that fucking Monday to Friday. I hate that shit. I hate it. I see my dad go to work every day. I know he hates it. He fucking hates it. I see my mum do it. She hates it. No one likes it. Going to work 9 to 5, working Monday to Friday, doing the same fucking thing every fucking day, making money for some other dude. If you're listening to this and you're young, get the fuck out of that as soon as you can. Take a risk. Even if you're under 30, you can be a fucking idiot with your life and you'll be alright, because you got, 60 years to fix it. Do you know what I mean? Like I left my job when I was 21. And I was a dumb idea. I had a little bit of money from my first tour and I left it, and then I fucking ran out of money after 8 months. But I almost got out, and I was the happiest I've ever been when I wasn't going to work and when I was just living off the little comedy money. Like, I cut my fucking money straight down by at least 2/3, and I was living like a fucking peasant. But I was so happy because I got to create shit and do what I really wanted to do. And going out and partying and going to clubs and fucking around didn't even occur to me, because I was so satisfied with what I was doing with my life. And then I had to get a job again, and I was like, fuck, I hate this. All of a sudden, I'm looking for more short-term fixes. Like, I remember when I worked in the call center in a bank, I was literally earning $900 a week. I worked full-time. I earned over $900 a week, and every single week I would spend all of it. Every single penny. I don't know what I spent it on. It was just like, I hate my life, I'm going to buy these jeans. I hate my life, and this sucks, so I'm going to buy lunch. oh, I hate my life, so I'm going to buy these shoes. And I didn't want any of that shit. What I really wanted was to get the fuck out of there. And I think that, you know, a lot of people do that with drugs to escape their reality because they don't like it, which is, you know, I understand that. Having jobs suck and not doing what you want to do sucks. So, but fuck, people got pissed off. This is what I want to talk about. I wanted to get up a bit of feedback that I got. Here's one from Shannon. Just listened to your podcast for the first time. Heard you talking shit about stuff you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. So this dude, this dude can't fucking spell. Shannon, you can't spell, okay? This is the thing about whenever I criticize drugs and whenever I say that drugs is not going to help you be successful, I get like the bottom of the barrel people who do drugs every day going, nah, man, you fucking can. And they're just fucking dropkicks. So, heard you talking shit, H-E-R-D, like cow herd, talking shit about stuff you clearly have no idea. Heard you talking shit about stuff you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Clearly you have no idea how to fucking spell, Shannon, or structure a sentence. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, always bragging about your stand-up and censorship issues like you're the next Lenny Bruce. Yeah, I talk about my stand-up. What do you want? I do this fucking every single week. I do stand-up every single week. What the fuck else am I going to talk about? Hey guys, I'm just going to make up a story about a whole bunch of things that I didn't do this week because I've been talking about the stuff that I actually do a little bit too much. Fuck you, mate. Like you're the next Lenny Bruce, that you're clearly passionate about. Then you talk shit about acid, which has arguably inspired the best comics ever. Stanhope, Rogan, Hicks, Carlin, the list goes on. Yeah, bro, I'm sure if you got fucking Doug Stanhope, Joe Rogan, George Carlin, and Bill Hicks in a fucking room and said, hey, what inspired you to do comedy? They would every single one of them would say, well, I didn't want to be a comedian, but then I dropped some acid, and hey, there I was, the best fucking comic in the world. That's not how that shit works, Shannon. Fuck you, mate. They wanted to be comedians before they fucking touched drugs, I tell you that. And while drugs may have assisted a few of their acts, I'll fucking tell you this, if they've been doing drugs as hard as you've been doing them, they wouldn't have been able to spell their fucking jokes, mate. Okay, what else do we have? This was my favorite one. This is my favorite one. So this one came from Jesse McIntyre. He tweeted at me, your view on psychedelics is regressive as hell. That's all he said. So obviously this guy thinks that, you know, basically all I said last week was psychedelics is, you can do as much psychedelics as you want and you can open up your third mind and do all of that shit and become one with the universe. But at the end of the day, you're going to be one with the universe and you'll be sitting in your cubicle office and your boss will tell you to do your job and you'll be like, oh, but my third eye's open, and he won't give a fuck. Doing all of that stuff is not going to move you to the next step in your life. It's not going to make you more money. It's not going to make you more successful. It's just going to mean you've just done some acid and you had a fucking good time. So he said, your view on psychedelics is regressive as hell. And then I had a look at his fucking Twitter profile, and his next tweet was to Hungry Jacks. At Hungry Jacks, just got asked to do an exit interview and it was treating me as if I quit. However, you guys fired me. What's up with that? Jesse, bro, you got fired from fucking Hungry Jacks, cunt. Okay, you cannot talk to me about psychedelics and my view being regressive, okay? Because I said, if you slam a whole bunch of fucking psychedelics in your asshole, it's not going to make you successful. You disagree, but mate, you're the one getting fired from fucking Hungry Jacks. You didn't even get fired from Macca's. Do you know what I mean? Like, getting fired from Macca's is a step up that. You got fired from Hungry Jacks. Alright, I'll leave you fucking stoners alone. Basically, in a sentence, if I was to fucking wrap it up, drugs isn't going to help you be what you want to be. If whatever you want to be, unless you really want to be a drug addict, doing drugs would really help you become a drug addict. But for just about every other fucking career choice, dream, whatever you have, drugs are not going to help you do that. They might inspire you. Like, here's the thing that a lot of people say. They're like, oh man, this fucking psychedelics inspired this musician or this fucking comedian. I'll be like, yeah, that inspired them to do a couple jokes. It didn't make their career. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, the human is responsible for their own success. Drugs didn't do that for them. It still took an incredible amount of work. A lot of people are like, oh, look at this celebrity, he does drugs, so it's okay that I do drugs. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, this guy does drugs and he works fucking 10 hours a day on his craft. You do drugs and that's it. You go to work. So yeah, I don't think, yeah, end of the day, I've seen even things as mild as weed fucking ruin people's potential to be great. And I'm just not interested in partaking in that shit. What else have I been doing lately? I've been working on a lot of music. And man, every time I fucking finish a tour, I'm not even finished. I'm just finished Melbourne. I got to do Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane, Sydney. Oh, heads up. Adelaide and Perth, they have 15 seats for each show left. Literally 15. So it will 100% sell out. If you're listening to this, I would book tickets. If you're in Adelaide or Perth, book tickets as quickly as possible, because after this drops next week, that's when I'm going to start promoting the tour, the interstate shows. So fucking jump on it quick if you want to get tickets. Even Sydney actually would probably sell out as well. So just jump on and grab tickets. All the tickets are available at lousespears.com/gigs. You can hear me do a fucking new show. It's a fucking brilliant show. Everybody in Melbourne loved it, and I'm really proud of it. I hope to see you there. But yeah, I've been working on music. Everyone's been asking me, oh, when's new music coming out? It's coming out very soon. I'm working on a new mixtape. I've been producing a whole bunch of new beats. I just didn't want to release it while I was, you know, fucking promoting my tour and releasing videos. I didn't want to bombard you guys with too much shit. So, I think how it's going to go from here is basically what I did last year. I do my tour, and then I release a mixtape, and then I do a tour and release a mixtape, and then that way I'm not fucking barraging you guys with a whole bunch of shit. But I'm really, really happy with some of the music that I've been coming up with. Actually, you know what I'll do at the end of this podcast? I'll put in the instrumental of a beat that I made today. It's not finished, mind you. It's not fucking finished, but it'll give you an idea of what I've been working on, and you guys can let me know what you think. It's probably, knowing me, I'm gonna fuck it up, and the levels will be all ridiculous when I put it in the podcast, because it's not done. But who knows? We'll see. So I'll give you a preview of me music for you cunts. What else? The new Hearthstone expansion. Fucking love Hearthstone, man. That's one of the funnest games. I love trading card games, but man, do you remember when you're really into trading card games, and then you hit like 15 or 16, and all of a sudden you're quite old to be in the local trading card shop, and you're like, oh shit, I'm playing a lot of games against 14-year-olds, and then you hit 17, and you're like, fuck, I'm still playing against 14-year-olds, and then you hit 18, and you walk in, and you just feel like a fucking pedo. Like the parents all look at you like, oh, what is this guy doing? Playing cards with my son or my daughter. It's fucking weird. I don't like this. And you get the stares, then you feel self-conscious, and you just quit Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what happened to me. So I've been, you know, ever since then, there's like a hole in my soul that a card game needed to fill. And Hearthstone's been doing that brilliantly, man. I can't see if I'm playing against a 10-year-old or an 80-year-old Asian transvestite, man. It's just great. I play the game, I build my decks, and it's sick. The new expansion came out too. I bought like 50 packs. And I built a new Paladin deck, and I fucking love that game, man. It's I don't really know why I'm telling you this. This story is going fucking nowhere. I just enjoy Hearthstone. It's the shit, man. Imaginary cards. They're not even real cards. I've still got all of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and my fucking Dungeon Masters. I played that shit in my deck boxes and my Pokemon cards too. I still play Pokemon cards every now and then with my girlfriend, actually. That's fucking sick. We love doing that. But yeah, they're just taking up space in my room. But Hearthstone doesn't do that. It just takes up space on my hard drive. And I don't feel bad spending money on it either, because it's a free game. I've sunk so many hours into that game, and I feel like I get my money's worth every time I purchase a card pack. So I'm very happy with how they're doing that, because you know how bad fucking microtransactions are on video games. Like, you'll buy a new game and they'll be like, oh, now you got to spend, like, fucking Xbox games and RPG games do this all the time, and fighting games too. Like with a fighting game, they'll give you the disc, you spend $80 on a new Xbox game, and then you find out that there are characters to unlock that are on the disc already. Like the data is loaded on the disc. They gave you a disc with the character on there, but you still have to pay like $6 to unlock that character, even though it's on the fucking disc. They did no extra work. They plan to fuck you with that later down the line. I hate that shit. I never buy that stuff by principle. If ever a game comes out that looks like it's going to have a whole bunch of bullshit DLC, I just wait 6 months and I buy the collector's edition when they release all of it. I'm like, fuck you guys, you're not getting my money straight up. I mean, they get my money anyway, but so obviously it fucking works. But man, I hate that shit. Also, I'm getting back into Lou Review. It's been really hard for me to do Lou Review when I'm doing shows, because I get so preoccupied with doing the show, I don't want to think about anything else. So, but now, with the rest of my interstate shows, there's only 4 shows left. They're both on a Friday or a Saturday, so I can spend the whole week making a Lou Review, and then I perform on the weekend. So it works really well. So we'll be able to, from now, Lou Review will be weekly. And when I get back from tour, I haven't told anybody else this, I'm telling you guys first, Lou Review Season 2 will begin. I've got some big shit planned. I want to switch it up. I want to do less social experiment videos, and like I wasn't even planning on doing that social experiment last week. It was just so ridiculous. It was the most fucked video. I just had to do it. But I want to do less about YouTube videos and shit, and I want to do more about just topics in general. Like like something I really want to do, which I'm probably going to do on Tuesday, is ticket booking fees and how expensive they are. Just shit like that, like things that rip off normal people. They don't have to be shit YouTube videos. So season 2 will begin when I finish the tour, and I've got some big shit planned for that. I'm not going to ruin it now because it's still about like over a month away until I launch season 2, but I feel really happy about it. I want to get to that 300k this time next year, 300,000 subscribers, and because that'd be sick. I reckon 300,000 subscribers, that'd be fucking mad. So I'm going to try and do that, and Lou Review Season 2 is going to help me do that. And if you would like to help Lou Review and this podcast and everything else that I'm doing for you guys for free get better, please do support me on Patreon. Patreon is like Kickstarter, except it's monthly and it's for much smaller amounts. So if you listen to the podcast every week, that alone is fucking, half an hour of content every single week. If you watch this and my Lou Reviews, that's like, 40 to 50 minutes of free shit that I give you guys for every single week. Pretty much anyway. The podcast is pretty good. But yeah, if you would like to make me stay consistent, because a lot of the time I have to stop it to do like a fucking gig at a university to make a bit of cash, and then I'm like, shit, I don't have time to do this. So if you would like to help me out and help improve the quality of everything I'm making, help me buy more gear and all that shit, support the show on Patreon. It really does help literally everything that I'm doing. So thanks for your support on Patreon. Just Google Lewis Spears Patreon and you'll find it. There's rewards too. So the $3 reward, you get all videos early before anybody else. You'll notice on my videos when they just come out, there'll be a whole bunch of comments from people written half an hour ago. You'll be like, how do they fucking write that? It's because they support me on Patreon and they get the videos early. And then if you do $6 a month, we've got a Facebook group and there's a group chat that I'm in. And I'm always in the fucking group chat talking to you guys who support me at the $6 level. And then there's $10, you get a free poster. Every time I release a poster design, you get the poster for free. Like, I don't charge you shipping or anything. And then there's $20, you get a t-shirt. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of fucking rewards. Go and check it out. And then there's also goals as well for once I reach a certain level of funding, I'll do this. Shit like that. So yeah, support the show on Patreon and everything else. What else? What happened the other day? Oh, fucking, this pissed me off. This made me so angry, okay? I hate PSOs now. Those protective service officers. I think they're only in Victoria. If you guys don't know what a PSO is, if you're interstate or you're listening from America or some fucking shithole somewhere, in Victoria, at every single one of our train stations, we have 2 PSOs stationed. Now what they are protective service officers. So they are dressed exactly like our police, but they are not trained police. So they've got guns and they've got handcuffs and everything, but they're not fully trained police officers. They're there to stay all night on the train stations to protect us. And when this was announced, I thought that was the best idea. I thought it was a really good idea because obviously fucking assaults happen all the time on train stations, and it just helps everybody stay safer because nobody fucks around when there's PSOs. There's less drinking on trains, I've noticed, because the PSOs arrest people and throw out their alcohol and fine them if they're publicly drinking, and there's it's just safer. Like, it makes sense. There's pretty much the equivalent of a police officer, 2 of them at every single train station from like 7 p.m. until the last train. So it's fucking sick. I think it's a really good idea. But the other day, I used the train. I was with my girlfriend. I touched on, right, at the start of my journey. And then I got off the train and there were 2 PSOs standing there. Now, if you have been on the train all day, you don't need to touch off because it just charges you for a daily fare. So you don't need to touch off. They tell you need to touch off, but you don't need to fucking touch off. So, as I was getting off the train, I didn't get my wallet out. I didn't get my train ticket out. I didn't fucking touch off, right? So I walked past the touching off mechanisms, and so did my girlfriend. We didn't do it because we do this all the fucking time. You do not need to touch off. And then we walk past the PSOs and the scanning things where you touch your fucking Mikey, and then this PSO guy goes, "Mate, did you touch on?" And I went, "Yeah, man." And then I kept walking. And then he goes, "Mate, stop. Did you touch on?" I said, "Yes." And I kept walking. And then he goes, "Mate, stop." He yells at me. So I'm like, all right, what does this guy want? I didn't know, because these PSO cunts are there to protect us. They're there to protect me, right? They're not there to check fucking tickets. I was under the impression that they were fucking essentially low-level police that were there to keep everybody safe. I didn't know that they were fucking ticket inspectors, right? They don't have ticket scanners. So he goes, "Come back here, mate." And then he was this short little tiny dude, right? And I'm on the bottom of the ramp. So he tells me to come back. So I'm like, all right, I walk back up to them and I see his head just slowly tilt up to look me in the face, and he shits his pants a little bit. I saw the bitch in his eyes, and he was like, he goes, "Mate, don't walk away when I'm talking to you." And I went, all right. He was really angry. I don't know why, because I'm still don't understand that this guy. I didn't understand that this guy wanted me to touch off. Like, it didn't fucking click that this dude was looking after the profits of the train company, not after the safety of everybody who uses the train station, right? Like he's supposed to be there for. So I get out my card and I show it to him really sarcastic. I'm like, "Here's my card." And then I go over to the console and I touch off and he hears the beep beep. And then I go, "See, mate?" And I put it back in my wallet. But then he grabs it off me, and then he goes and puts it on the fucking Mikey machine because he doesn't have a card reader like the ticket inspectors do. So he has to do it manually on the Mikey machine, right? And he's doing trying to see where I touched on and where I touched off to see if I really was lying or not. And I just look at him like, "Oh, gee, mate, I thought, I didn't know you guys were ticket inspectors," because that's what he's fucking doing. He's checking my tickets. He's not fucking checking if He's not protecting people, right? The whole time that he's doing this, he's not fucking watching. He's not on his shift. He's focusing on me and my fucking train ticket, not on making sure that everybody's safe like his fucking job is supposed to be, right? And then I go, "See, there you go, mate." He looks around that I've touched on. There you go. "See, I told you, touched on, bro." And he goes, "Have a good night, mate." Like he was really disappointed that he couldn't fucking find me or whatever he could. And I didn't know they did that. I was totally under the impression that the protective service officers, for some reason, I thought that the protective service officers were there to protect everybody who used the train station. I had no idea that the protective service officers were there to protect the fucking train's monetary interests. That really pissed me off, man. Because we have so many ticket inspectors that fine everybody, and they're a fucking rip off anyone. The train system is supposed to be public. It was set up by the government, and then they stupidly sold it to a private company, and then the private company started jacking up the prices, and then they started putting out more. They put out that Mikey system shit, and then people started fare evading less because it was easier to just touch on and touch off. And then you know what they did? Instead of going, "Oh, well done, you guys are fare evading less," they raised the ticket price because they were losing money because there weren't enough people to fine. They were relying on the fine money. And then they raised the fines as well. And then they raised the ticket prices again. And it's fucking bullshit. I hate trains. It's going to make me get my license. I'm complaining about this, and I bet there's 100 people sitting at home going, "Yeah, well, that's what you get for taking the fucking train, Lewis. You're 21, get a fucking car, cunt." And you know what? You're right. You're right. Oh, that was a massive rant. What have we got for next week's podcast? Next week is the first podcast of the month. As you guys know, I floated the idea of interviewing people once a month on the first week of the podcast. You guys thought it was a great idea. My first interview was Frenchie. So next week, I'm interviewing Neil Kolhatkar. I sat down with him during the comedy festival a few weeks ago, and we had a great chat. It went for about half an hour. So Neil Kolhatkar is going to be on the podcast next month. And that is it for all of the pre-recorded interviews. So do let me know who you want me to interview on the podcast, and I will try and hit it up. Right now, I am trying to get Cursor on. He's a mate of mine, so I'm trying to get him on the podcast. He's really, really busy though, so we will see. I can't promise anything because I'm going to Sydney where he is in a couple months, so I'm going to try my best, guys, to get Cursor on here for a chat, but we will see. Otherwise, Elliot Loney, Khaled Kalafala, there's also there's quite a few people that I will be interviewing. It's just a matter of time. I'm trying to get all of my interstate people done, so that way I can relax and just do the guys who live in Melbourne with me, when the easy ones, if I haven't managed to hook somebody else up. So let me know who you want me to interview as well. Friendly Geordies will be good too. I actually haven't spoken to that guy. I don't actually know where he's based. I think he's Adelaide or Perth. I don't know. I'll have to hit him up. I'll probably get Marcus Dibble on as well when I go to Perth. He's planned. I haven't asked him about it, but he'll probably be keen. And I got a few people that I want to do in my head as well. I've got them all written down, all the people that I want to hit up, and yeah, I want to get more than just comedians. I know fucking a shitload of rappers. So I want to get a whole bunch of rappers on there because I think that's a really interesting lifestyle. So I want to get those guys on. And now, just before we wrap up the podcast, it is time for miscellaneous bit at the end. Miscellaneous bit at the end is the worst fucking part of the podcast. I skipped it the last 2 weeks because I just didn't want to do it. It's where I answer questions from you guys. It's fucking horrible. If you're listening now, just turn it off. Guys, don't listen to this shit, okay? Now, if you would like to send in a life advice question you would like me to answer, or even one of my guests to answer on the podcast, please do email contact@loosespears.com. Put a little, summarize it in the subject line so I get a bit of an idea of what it's about before I open it, because I get lots of emails these days. And just, yeah, any life advice about girls or boys or your life or your mum or your dad or whatever, anything you like, send them in and I'll answer it on the podcast in a humorous and truthful manner. The first question, and the only question, is from Jack Falconer. Okay, he asked, when people see you like in why did you type like, Jack? Okay, what are you, some fucking American schoolgirl? When people see you like in, who types like? Isn't that like a speech? I say like all the time. I just fucking said it. Isn't that like I just said, I'm just an idiot. I just fucking bagged down people saying like, and then I just said it in that sentence. I'm such a fucking, why do you guys listen? Such a dickhead. I'm such a fucking idiot. Anyway, okay. When people see you like in person and like, well, you did it again, bro. You fucking say like twice. What do you want me to do? You want me to not make fun of this? Okay. When people see you like in person and like your family and stuff, what do you, just ask your question, you stuttering cunt. When people see you like in person and like your family and stuff, do they ever like pressure? That's fucking 3 likes, cunt. You don't have to, when people see you like in person and like your family and stuff, do they ever like pressure you into being funny? Oh my God. What a fucking sentence that is. You said like 3 times and stuff as well. Dude. I'm just going to take all of the likes and the stuffs out. I'm going to read it. When people see you in person, like your family and stuff, do they ever pressure you into being funny? Yes. Okay, that was easy. Why didn't you just write it like that in the first place? This is why I hate this part of the fucking podcast. I'm going to kill myself. Okay, yeah, people do pressure me into being funny. Not my family and friends. They know, because they know me. They know that I'm not incredibly funny all the time. It takes me a whole year to write a stand-up show. That's what people don't get. Comedians, we spend a whole year on the show. We're not that fucking funny all the time. It's impossible. Nobody can be. It's like when you see a comedian's 50 minutes of them being hilarious on stage, that's a whole year of work. That's like when they get off stage and you talk to them and they're not funny and you're disappointed. That's like seeing Usain Bolt walk down the street and go, oh fuck, he doesn't run at the speed of light everywhere. Well, what the fuck? That's bullshit. Why? Oi, Usain! Oi, run, bro! You're fast. Just run. Like that's what that's like. I'm not comparing myself to Usain Bolt, by the way. Okay, then. Yeah, people that I meet when I tell people that I'm a comedian. I'm gonna stop telling people that I'm a comedian because it's fucked, man. Tell me a joke, bro. Tell me a fucking joke. I hate that. No, I'm not gonna tell you a joke. Okay, come to my show, pay $20, and I'll tell you 100 jokes for 50 minutes. Okay, I'm not gonna tell some drunk dude a joke one-on-one at a shit party, like not on a stage, without a microphone, without the atmosphere, because you're just going to go, oh, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to do it. Okay, this is the rest of the question. Why did you say it again? This is the 4th time. You started the fucking sentence with like. Jack Falconer, you fuckhead. What are you doing? Okay. Like, do people think because you're a comedian that you're funny all the time and ask you to tell a joke right there and then? If so, do you have any funny stories relating to this? I actually do have a good story. Yeah, I think I answered that question before, Jack. They do ask me to do it. It's mostly people that I don't know, right? I remember once, okay, I was, yeah, here's a good one. I was at a party, my friend's 21st, right? Dude I know from high school. He's a really good guy. Having his 21st birthday, right? I go, and then there's a few people there who know of me but don't know me personally, and they didn't know that my friend knew me. So there was a bit of fanning stuff, which is always embarrassing when it's not my party. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's his 21st party. I'm his friend. I rock up, and all of a sudden people are taking photos with me. I try not to do that when it's someone else's gathering. I try not to do photos, but then I'm like, I feel like a fucking douche either way, because on one hand, I'm taking photos with this guy's mates. On the other hand, I say no to photos so I don't offend my friend, but then I'm offending all of these people who this is probably the only chance they're going to meet me. Do you know what I mean? So I know I do photos. I try to be discreet about it. But anyway, so I meet this one guy, and he was friends with a few of the guys that took photos with me, but he didn't know any of my work. And so he's like naturally curious. He's like, oh, what do you do? Why is everyone taking photos with you? And he's a little bit drunk as well, right? So I tell him, I'm a comedian. He goes, oh, cool. Can you tell me a joke? And I was like, oh, no, man, I don't do that. I don't do that at parties. And he goes, oh, why not? Like he got really disappointed. And I'm like, oh, because, man, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I just don't do it. I don't feel like doing it. He's like, oh, why not? Why don't you want to tell me a joke, man? He starts getting angry that I'm not telling him a joke. I'm like, bro, and then I tried to let him down in a funny way. I'm like, oh, what do you do for work? And he goes, oh, I'm a plumber. And I was like, okay, can you fix the toilet? I just did a shit in it and it's fucked. He's like, no. I'm like, why not? Why don't you want to fix the toilet? He's like, oh, because I don't want to do my job here. I'm like, exactly, I don't want to do my job here. He goes, oh, but you're a comedian. It's different. You're funny, man. Tell me a joke. I'm like, dude, that was kind of a joke. Like, what do you want from me? Fuck off. And then he keeps pushing me to tell him a joke, and I end up just getting really pissed off at him. I'm like, dude, I'm not telling you a joke, okay? I'm really sorry. I'm not telling you a fucking joke at a party. Please stop asking me to tell you a joke. And then he got all offended. He's like, oh, I just wanted you to tell me a joke, man. You don't have to be such a fucking asshole about it. Just because, you think you're good, man. Just because people want photos, but you think you're good. I'm like, I don't think I'm good. I'm just a dude. Sometimes I put my t-shirt on the wrong way, like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger does. We're just a fucking people, man. I'm not an amazing person. I just don't want to tell you a fucking joke because you're drunk. You're like a heckler in real life. Fuck you. Leave me alone. So that was a story that really... This was such an angry podcast, guys. I don't know what happened. I'm in a fucking mood. I must have just woken up in a shit mood. I'm just complaining about shit. It's because of the drugs thing. They just set me off. All these cunts being like, oh, you can't say that about drugs. I got fired from Hungry Jack's, but drugs make you successful. Like, just piss me off. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to Spearhead Sundays. I do these every single Sunday, so make sure you subscribe on iTunes. Make sure you rate it on iTunes as well. That really helps me get a whole bunch of new listeners. This podcast is steadily growing. I'm really happy with it. Hopefully next week I'll be a little bit happier for you cunts. Actually, next week is the interview with Neil. That was a really good one, actually. It's all pre-recorded. I've listened to it a couple of times. And yeah, it's a really fucking good podcast. So next week will be the one with Neil. So I will talk to you guys very soon. Make sure you support me on Patreon. Make sure you come and see a show. There are only 4 left. Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane, and Sydney. I'll fucking see you there. Thank you very much for listening to Spearhead Sundays. And I really, really do hope every single one of you have a fucking shit one.